Hello everyone, my name is Karen and I'm here to present you with my warband, the Wyrdstone Inquisition, which recently took part in the Mordheim World Cup of May-June organized by Happy, and this particular warband actually managed to win the entire thing. As you can see, it is a mercenaries warband, and I'm going to go through each character very quickly and then make a few comments about the tactics and how to use them and why I built them this way. As you can see, first off, I used a gray color scheme and I fit in black whenever I couldn't find gray with a red accentuating color. And if you're a player that loves to have some roleplay and background about your warband and renaming your character and so forth, I already know that I will like you. And I did the same thing for this warband. As you can see, all of my names here are Nordlander names, and that's because this warband comes from the Nordland province, the most northern province of the empire, and I roleplay them as a warband coming to Mordheim, collecting as much wardstones as they can, and in a probably misguided attempt trying to destroy that wardstone. They've seen what it can do to their home province, the province that is most influenced by Wyrdstone by far, since it's the most northern one and they have the most mutations. So they want none of that and try to limit the supply. That's their purpose. So let's go through all of the characters really quickly, see what kind of skills they have, and then use a little bit of logic and see why I built them this way. Inquisitor Grim, Born Leader, Resilient, Serenity, Shield Specialist, Feint, Vital Strike, Insult, Strong Blow, Defensive Stance, using Balance of Constitution, Light Armor of Nobles to max the leadership, Sword of Havoc, Shield of Shielding, Axe of Perforation, or an Axe of Luck, Shield of Shielding. My other leader, Inquisitor Hellman, Armor Proficient, Hardy, Resist Magic, Shield Specialist, Strong Blow, Web of Steel. Using Armor of Spellbreaking, 68% magic resistance. Heavy Armor of Squires, plus 2 weapon skill, max out weapon skill, some plus some toughness. Axe of Luck, Shield of Shielding, or an Axe of Warding with a Shield of Spellbreaking, 98% magic resistance with that setup. Our Priest Hagrim, he has Devotion, Resilient, Piety, Knowledge Mordheim. Defensive Stance, Quick Prayer, Exhaustion, Strong Blow. Healing Hand, Deny the Heretic, Armor of Righteousness. Using Amulet of Focus, Heavy Armor of Toughness, Sigmar Warhammer of Devotion, Shield of Shielding, Sigmar Great Hammer of Devotion. Another War Priest, Priest Eric, Armor Proficient, Devotion, Hardy, Resilient, Web of Steel, Insult, Bandwidth. Spells, Deny the Heretic, Armor of Righteousness, Prayer of Absolution. Using Pendant of Focus, Heavy Armor of Squires, Sigmar's Warhammer of Devotion, Shield of Shielding, Sigmar's Great Hammer of Devotion. We have a few more heroes to choose from here. Jürgen Silvertooth, a Lad's Got Talent marksman with Quick Reload, Knowledge Mordheim, Trick Shooter, Exhaustion, Wall Runner, Swift Jump, Meditation. Using Pendant of Celerity that can change up depending on what you want. Helmets are usually better, but it depends. Sometimes I use amulets as well. Light Armor of Toughness, because he has already maxed out the ballistic skill. Handgun of Perforation does the most damage. You can use a handgun of Precision sometimes when you know that you will face warbands with a lot of cloth. And for reserve, Mace of Luck, Shield of Shielding to help him survive in case he gets stuck. Sigrun the Widow, Smuggler, Quick Reload, Knowledge Mordheim, Fine Tuning, Bullseye, Trick Shooter. Vital Shot, Adrenaline Rush, Liquid Courage. Using Helmet of Constitution, Light Armor of Accuracy to boost the crit chance. Pistol of Havoc because it has critical hit chance, and Rune of Havoc to crit chance. Sword of Havoc, in case she gets stuck, I want to use the crit chance for something, even if she's a terrible fighter. Our two Warlocks, Vidar Antonson, Knowledge Mordheim, Improved Casting, Channeling, Expert Casting, Avoid, and Sidestep. Using Lightning Strike, Armor of Lead, Fireball. Pendant of Focus, Clothing for Agility, Staff of Spellbinding, and a reserve bow of Precision in case his mind gets eaten. And Arne Sigurdsson is the exact same build, except that he doesn't have a Tome of Abilities, so he lacks the Avoid, and he has an injury that is not too debilitating, so we have stuck with him anyway. And that's it for the heroes. We've shown all of them. The Ogre. Resist Magic, Hardy, Flash Parry, Knowledge Mordheim, Adrenaline Rush, Insult, Strong Blow, Web of Steel. Using Amulet of Spellbreaking, Light Armor of Strength. I usually use actually rune that gives +2 weapon skill and +2 for something else, but this was an Ogre that I picked the equipment for against towards the final, and I knew that my opponent Marcus Kane would never use, wouldn't have too much of melee resistance, hence I didn't need too much of it. But +2 weapon skill is probably better, increasing chance to hit and the parry. I use a Sword of Perforation. You need to use a sword to be able to parry, and an Armor of Perforation to do more damage. Armor bypass, 32% bypass is really good. In case it gets mobbed by a lot of people, you can use Sword of Alacrities to get more and more attacks and mop everyone up. For the henchmen, we have Ulf Ingolson and Håkon Strongarm, which are the exact same builds, showcased here. Awareness, Armor Proficient, Shield Specialist, Resilient. Web of Steel, Defensive Stance, Feint, and Vital Strike. Using Pendants of Courage, or Helmets of Courage, or something like that. It depends what you want. I tend to like pendants. Pendants of Constitution are chosen sometimes as well. But you want the reliability. Heavy Armor of Weapon Skill, Axe of Luck, Shield of Shielding, Sword of Havoc, Shield of Shielding. We have Morten Granat, a Flagellant, doing a little bit more damage, Avoid, Hardy, Resilient, Retaliation. Sidestep, Adrenaline Rush, Fanatical Seal, Burn the Witch. Using Amulet of Constitution, never use a pendant, it's useless for him, he's immune anyway and he can't use helmets. Clothing of Agility, Great Axe of Expertise to counter his low weapon skill, and a Mace of Expertise as a second. Our substitute, Ingrid Torilsson, is using Armor Proficient, Avoid, Shield Specialist, Ablus Fate, Feint, Prayer of Swiftness, Meditation, Sidestep. She has Pendant of Constitution, plus 30% wounds, Heavy Armor of Agility to boost her dodge, Mace of Luck to boost the critical hit resistance, really low if you don't have that, and Shield of Shielding. And for the last two characters, they are also both the same. Ivar Haraldsson and Knut Ragnarsson boost Marksmen, using Knowledge Mordheim, Quick Reload, Trick Shooter, Eagle Eyes, Meditation, Adrenaline Rush, Introspection, and Nerve Shot. Using Amulet of Spellbreaking, or sometimes Helmets of Constitution. It depends on your opponent. Light Armor of Archers to boost the ballistic skill up to its maximum, and then something else. Mace of Luck and Shield of Shielding. You can start with this if you want to. I did it in one match, or you can start with the Bow of Perforation. I always use the Bow of Perforation, but sometimes I could use a Bow of Warding in case I know that I'm facing a very heavy offensive magic warband. And there is also the Bow of Precision if you really need to hit and expect it to be very difficult. So this is the warband presented in full. When I made this warband, I expected the tournament to have a surge of undead warbands. And so this warband is built specifically to be good with psychology. As you can see, I like the pendants, and that's because leadership and psychology in general was nerfed in one of the patches recently, and you need something to make your characters more reliable. A lot of players in PvP really love to try and sneak in and do all alone tests to make your character useless and bypass all of the stances. So the reliability I feel is worth more, but you will be hurting against stun resistance tests because you have no helmet and you will take a tiny bit more damage, but I felt like the reliability is worth a lot more. So what's the plan here? Well, we have these two champions, and as you can see from their builds, they are very defensive minded with 69% melee resistance for Inquisitive Grim here, plus Serenity that will trigger against anyone having fear, terror, or if they go and try and pose an all alone on him, which is immune to. Couple that with defensive stance, you have 109% melee resistance, plus everything he can get from adaptable defense. Since he's not using a Web of Steel stance, you need to use all of the red pills. He has 3 attacks, costing 6 red pills in total, and then he has 3 red pills left, and he needs to use that. And depending on the situation, you want to have an offensive choice and a defensive choice. This character is very defensively built, right? But you can't build characters that are only defensive. If you do that, the character could get stuck with a henchman, for example, and then you have wasted the potential of a hero or a leader, or even unimpressive, if you have that. So if you get stuck with a henchman, you need to have the power to push through and do the damage. Same thing if you come up to a squishy target, you need to have some kind of power that makes you kill the target faster so you can get out there and do more damage and help out the rest of your team. This character does that really well. He has Feint, which we'll talk about because it's a broken skill right now. Sometimes when you use Feint, it will not apply at all. This is especially true if you apply a Feint on a stun target. Whenever you do that, when the stun target gets backs up, it won't have an effect. So never use Feint on stun targets. However, the upside is that sometimes when you miss with Feint, it will still apply to the enemy. So that makes it a really good choice to open up with, especially if they have red pills left, or to finish with if they have no pills left. Because that means on their next attack, they will have a very small chance of hitting. And this even persists throughout the turns. So if your enemy disengage and go and fight someone else, they will still have Feint on them for their first attack. Very good choice, very good against a superior enemy, especially impressives. And as an offensive threat, we have Insult to be able to hit more and Strong Blow to do the actual damage. And since the champions have so many martial points, see, I've used a book of weapon skill, I have still a lot of martial points left to put into ballistic skill or accuracy, and I choose accuracy. A lot of people tend to build their characters in the way that they use a book of weapon skill to max out the weapon skill a lot more, and then they are really hurting in accuracy. And they do that because many people invest in crit resistance, so it's useless, and not too many people go a lot of parry, so you don't have much of a parry bypass. But it's also a critical hit chance thing, and since the champions get to invest so much into accuracy, I felt like you have to use that. You can't just have that as a dodge bypass. Enter Vital Strike and Source of Havoc. 27% turns to 47% with the Vital Strike, which means that he has a really good offensive threat to him. He's not just a defensive character. He can do some damage, or he can really stun people, especially squishy targets that like ranged the magic casters and so forth. He can do a lot of damage and make sure that they are not escaping him. And the champion is built in the exact same way. Same thing for these two guys, the warriors. And as you can see here, with a sort of havoc, which I use sometimes, 23% turns into 33%, and that makes them a threat. They're not just tanks, even though that's their main purpose. They have a threat value to them. And that's really important. People always think that you are a bit lucky if you score a critical hit with 10 and 15%, but no. If you build it like this, sometimes it will occur, and that will help you win games. That's why I built them like this. I need to have an offensive potential with each character, and they need to be a little bit defensive. And they need to be defensive because this warband is mostly ranged. I tend to use half of the troops, or 40%, 40 to 50% of the troops as ranged characters. So as you can see, the champions and the warriors are made to be able to tank people and be outnumbered, and they also have some sort of offensive threat to them, so people don't just leave them alone. I like to have a lot of damage in the warbands as well. If you're a player that invests in impressive and go with an order leader and then have almost nothing that can deal damage, you will lose in PvP. I will just say that right away. You need to have damage from multiple sources, and having someone like this character is something that will demand attention from the enemy. Either you get him into one of his precious spellcasters, and he won't like that. That will really screw up with his magic casting. Not just think about it like this. Most players have calculated exactly what kind of spells they will cast and how much many red pills it will cost. Screwing that up for them with a henchman means that they will attack them. And if this character gets tied up by a hero, what you can do is enter sidestep and not attack at all and rely on retaliation to hit, because they need to hit you. If they are a hero against a henchman, they need to plow through you or they're wasting their potential. So they need to attack you, and then you can sit back, not waste any red pills, then counter-attack, having a higher chance to hit. That's the main thing with this guy. He's very tanky, he has a very good dodge, he can boost his chance to hit, which is mostly useful against any spellcaster, because then you use Burn the Witch twice for 2 blue pills, you use Fanatical Seal before that, then you use 4 blue pills, then you have only 2 blue pills left, just enough for a consumable or a single dodge stance, and for everyone else use sidestep. Good to have more damage capabilities that makes the enemy forces the enemy to react. The marksmen are really damage dealers. They are perfect as they are skirmishers and want to stay out. You really want to invest in movement at all times. You will see that throughout the warband. Quick reload is mandatory on every ranged character. You have trick shooter to be able to hit even more, which pairs well with chain shot. Eagle eyes is not mandatory, but since I'm using a bow of perforation together with this 25% armor bypass, really good. You can do a lot of damage, and we want to do as much damage as possible with these. We can do 2 attacks with the bow of perforation and a third with adrenaline rush if we are moving around. If we are static, we can shoot once, reroll for free, shoot another time, reload for 1 blue pill, then use adrenaline rush. Now we've used 4 blue pills, shoot, then we shoot shot 3 times and then reload for 2, and then you have not lost any damage like we do with adrenaline rush. You can also combo this, shoot twice, hopefully hit, get plus 20% chance to hit, use introspection, use adrenaline rush. Now you have 3 red pills more, and then you can use a nerve shot. You can also use nerve shots whenever you want if the enemy is not engaged. You can use 2 nerve shots, either with introspection or adrenaline rush to help you out. Having a henchman like this is extremely powerful. This is a henchman with a potential 7 red pills each turn. That's just 2 less than a hero. Really good. And they're built the same way. Ingrid Torlsson is much more defensive. I use her as a replacement when I know that I'm facing a very offensive-minded warband that goes all out. In that case, the warriors might not work out, or specifically the flagellant might not work out too well. And then I have this character. As you can see, she is a little bit different because she doesn't have an offensive choice here. She's pure defense, high dodge with feint, with much higher reliability than the warriors. She's not using a Pendant of Courage right now. If she were using a Pendant of Courage, she could get this up to 100%, 100%, and 110%, so extremely reliable. I forgot to mention with the Flaglant, he has the option to go for a Mace of Expertise. I will only use that if I want a hero to do a lot of damage. Then I go in with this character first. He's using 2 attacks, likely hitting, and a 3rd attack with Adrenaline Rush. That means I can take away stances for the enemy. I make them use up both of their dodges, or all of their dodges and Web of Steel chances, and then I just go right in and finish them off with a hero. For the Warlocks, they are reliable damage. Ranged has the negative effect that whenever a person is in melee and you try to shoot at them, you get minus 30% chance to hit, and especially so when you have an obscured vision to the targets, you can have a really low chance to hit. But magic casters are extremely reliable in that manner, and warlocks are probably the best offensive casters in the game. And that's all purely because of lightning strike. I can cast 3 lightning strikes per turn, and I only get 8% curse chance on the last spell. Extremely reliable. Armor Flight is more for support. You can make enemies not be able to move that far. That means you can put more range into them, which is support for this warband, and you can also bypass a lot of dodge if you need to. Even if you can't hit the entire warband, the enemy warband, like if they clump up, you can hit a portion of them. Then the enemy has the conundrum of moving half of his units, which are really fast, and half of them which are really slow, or try to keep together in case. And that in that case, you're slowing the entire warband down, so then you're getting the same effect. Fireball is pretty powerful. If you can hit several enemies at once, you can really pull the damage through, much more so than Lightning Strike. I'd say it's good for focusing down, but if you want to deliver more damage, a Fireball to clumped up enemies is perfect. Curse of Rust, I don't like it. I don't like Scavenger's Curse, it's not good at all for PvP. The spell has some value, especially in PvP here, but I couldn't afford it. Dirt of Armor is kind of awkward to use. It's good that you have casters like this that aren't totally defenseless. Your ranged characters will be, but the Warlock has a really high dodge chance, as you can see, and a mastered sidestep. So it's not that easy prey. Like, you can't just move in with a character and expect to kill him. If he's in a duel with like a champion or a marauder or something like that, he will probably win because they get one attack through each round, usually, and then on your turn, you're just blasting them with magic. That's basically 60 damage per hit, that's 180 damage per turn, and you will win that. No one is doing 180 damage in just one hit against you, so you're probably winning that engagement. Expert casting to get range, reduce curse chance, make them reliable. You want on every character that is ranged, spellcasting or ranged, you want Knowledge Mordheim or some sort of capability to skirmish better. And you get that. You get much more efficient use of your blue pills like this. That's why I use it. We do the same thing here, Knowledge Mordheim, and we do the same thing with this hero. Jürgen Silvertooth, who has Exhaustion, which works really well as a handgunner because it means he can move, shoot, and then he can use Adrenaline Rush to be able to shoot a third time in case he runs out of blue pills, and that's pretty perfect for him. And he uses Knowledge no more time to get his movement up. Wall Runner and Swift Jump and Meditation all go into the same path, getting more blue pills and making more efficient use out of your blue pills. Trick Shoot to be able to hit a lot. Sigrun is more of a character that you want behind your lines. She doesn't have too much range, but she can do a really good amount of damage. It's around 85 damage when she scores a critical hit. And remember that aim is adding plus 5% critical hit chance. She has 50% when she's shooting into melee with a plus 30% chance to hit. And that's really important here because her ballistic skill is not too great, so getting plus 30% for cheaper as well as one blue pill added to each attack is really good. Trick Shooter, helping her shoot and hit. It's really good. Knowledge Mordheim, again, Skirmishing. Remember the Skirmishing. You can use Vital Shot on a target that is not engaged, and then you have a much higher chance, 65% chance to score a critical, which is a lot. And if you feel like it, you can use Adrenaline Rush, then you get one Vital Shot and 2 regular shots off. Liquid Courage, really powerful to manipulate initiative ladder. You can use Crimson Shades as well, and they stack. So shooting with all of your red pills and using a few blue pills, assuming you didn't use aim, so you have some blue pills left. You can use Liquid Courage and a Crimson Shades or both, and then you can move up the initiative ladder, and by that you get to shoot at the same target twice before they even get to move. It's a really good tactic. What else do we have? Priest Eric, he didn't turn out too well. I think it's mostly because Prayer of Absolution costs a lot, and it's a good support spell when you get it into there, but a lot of people don't have enough strength or enough accuracy in PvP to be able to reliably bypass dodge and parry. So you usually have 80% chance or even 95% chance to parry, and it's not that good of a support spell in that case. It's all about the armor absorption. But you can do more targeted armor, and it lasts for 2 turns, which is much better with Armor of Righteousness, and it provides fear, which is cool. And Deny the Heretic, one of the most overpowered spells in the game, if not the most overpowered spell in the game. It bypasses all magic resistance, you can't resist it, and since it costs 3 red pills, if you can hit 3 enemies, it's basically paying for itself for 2 turns over, so it's actually double as efficient, and it gives them melee hit chance, a lower melee hit chance, and that's just extremely powerful. You should always have it. I use it Burn the Witch because I wanted to get another character and stacking the Burn the Witch, just like Morten Granat, the Flagland. but I didn't think it worked out too well. I much prefer this character, who has the healing hand, which is a crucial spell sometimes because it allows you to keep targets alive. With Quick Prayer and using the Sigmarit Worm of Devotion and a Rosary, you can get to cast Healing Hand 3 times per round at 80% chance to succeed on each casting. And that's just 240 HP healed, which is insane. If you're using that, you're using 6 blue pills, right? And then you can boost up 3 more with exhaustion, then you have 10 in total. You're using 6 here. You can use 4 for defensive stance, but it's usually 2 for the rosary and then just a single parry stance, which is decent. Piety, really important here because it only has a range of 3 meters. Now it has 8 meters range. You can use the head slot if you want that too, but I want the Sense Curse chance. I want reliability over fancy power every time. Knowledge Mordheim, he's a bit of a skirmisher, remember that. And since I used heavy armor on him, this time you can use light armor and it gives you flexibility. Light armor, 7 movement, heavy armor for more protection. At least he's viable in that way because he moves the same speed as the warriors in our warband. Bit of an offensive power, but it's mostly defensive and casting. So that's pretty much the warband. Adrenaline Rush enables us to get 5 attacks off when we want. Insult stacks well with champions having the regular insult. I want magic resistance because magic resistance allows us to live through chains of chaos and comments and everything that can hurt us pretty big. So, and since you can't use consumable with Ogre, that's a good choice. Yep, that's the entire warband. I don't know much more to say. This was an anti-psychology warband. It's made out to have threats, tie up most of the other warband, and be able to do that being outnumbered, and then get the damage dealers like these two or whatever I have in the team, like an ogre, to do the actual damage. But all of these characters can be a threat in and of themselves. They're not purely defensive characters, and they can do a lot of damage. So that enables us to be flexible, and since both of our heroes have, both of our leaders have 20 leadership, and 20 leadership, that means that they have the maximum amount that we can get to defend ourselves against rout tests, which is leadership times 4, that's 80% with both of these characters, and they're also really good in this department, which helps out. It's the same thing with most of our characters. You can see that I focused a lot on leadership here, using a book of leadership to use his mental points somewhere where he will be effective to get him up 18, and he really helps out the warband. Same thing with the ogre here. Leadership is actually useless for him personally, but it helps the warband. Same thing here, it's not too great. They would probably benefit more here if they were individuals, but you need to help the warband out. A trick that you should take into account when designing what kind of warband morale you want is thinking about how many characters do I want to be able to lose before I have to take a rout test. And then you do a calculation of how much morale you actually need spread out across all of your characters. I will post a calculation below in the description of this video. So back to it. Holding back troops, doing the damage with the range, but still being able to do some damage with the characters here, and the supporting roles ties well into that. Specifically, the Nigh, the Heretic, and Arm of Righteousness helps all of our armor, helps them to miss even more, which is brutal against the champions. Like, even other heroes will have a 1% chance to hit them, but the Nigh, the Heretic is targeted at them. It's really nasty. And then you can heal up in case you take damage. So that's the main idea behind my warband. Finding different kind of avenues of attack and damage, and switching them out to make sure that my opponent is guessing, but always having offensive targets and well, having the tanking power as well of some of these characters. I'll probably do a few more videos, but this was probably enough for a presentation of the Wyrdstone Inquisition. I hope you liked seeing them, and we will do more videos in the future on both tactics and other warbands to come. See you until then.